what's up guys? My name is Zack and today I am driving a 1997 Pontiac Sunfire sedan. Up front is a 2.2 liter inline 4 and down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this Pontiac Sunfire for two reasons. First of all, it's been a long time since I've driven a Sunfire, and this really is a more fun-loving Cavalier, and the sedans were a little bit rare, especially because the last 2 years of the Sunfire, they actually discontinued the sedan for the United States, so definitely cool to see that. But the second reason is that I always love driving J-bodies. This was the third generation of J-body, and so I have quite a bit to talk about. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that 2.2 liter under the hood. Well, this era of Sunfire, which started in 1995 and ran until 2005, was a very transitional period for not only Pontiac, but this style of car, because not only would this be the final generation, but it saw a lot of engine changes. Where this generation started using the older Cavalier engines, it would end using the more modern Ecotec engines, which that name is still in use here today in 2024. The 2.2 liter was fine. I've always thought that it's a relatively honest and simple little four-banger. However, as we'll talk about, this car is incredibly simple, and with that engine on the highway driven from New Jersey to here in Detroit, Michigan, the owner got 37 miles to the gallon all the way across the Pennsylvania Turnpike. So that is really good. Like I said, paired to it is a 4-speed automatic. The reason there's a little bit of hindrance in my voice is because most base model Sunfires and Cavaliers came with a 3-speed automatic. However, this car has one option, actually technically two options, but one of those options is the 4-speed over the 3-speed. So kind of interesting there. Last but not least, of course, the Sunfire is front-wheel drive. How does it feel to drive the Pontiac Sunfire? Nothing really too crazy or interesting beyond its other J-body platform mates. Really, the Cavalier. At this point, it was pretty much just the Cavalier. Visibility is great, really thin A-pillars, which I enjoy. The ride is smooth enough. The throttle is responsive enough, but I wouldn't call it responsive. It's a very standard driving feel, but that's what the Sunfire aimed to do, so that's what it delivered. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 4 gauges. Off to the left is my coolant temperature and tachometer, and off to the right is my speedometer and fuel. No forward-facing buttons here on the steering wheel. Off to the left, we have a climate control vent and a gauge dimmer switch. And moving out of the door, we have manual mirrors, manual locks, and manual windows. Moving into the center, we have 2 climate vents. Our radio, this is the standard radio that came in the Sunfire, a theft lock radio. And I do get adjustments for like treble and bass, which is definitely nice to see, but I can't say I'm being knocked out of the park. Down below that, again, super simple climate controls. I am very thankful that this one has AC, so I'm enjoying the air conditioning here today, but fan speed off to left, temperature in the center, where to send it off to the right. Then we get our other option, which was the smoker's package, which came with a cigarette lighter, and we have a cup holder off to the right. So we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the 1997 Pontiac Sunfire, and unfortunately it fails, but nothing older than 1995 has ever passed, ever. Then we have the shifter, very tall, very plasticky. We do have an overdrive switch on the left-hand side, but it's easy to operate, and I don't have any worries. Then off to the left, we have the handbrake. Then we get kind of an awkward cubby, center console, and the seats. The seats are comfortable. As I've said in nearly every GM review I think I've ever done, GM knew what they were doing, and even at their base level, even the basic Sunfire that was sold for what, $14,000, got comfortable seats. This is comfy, and I would say more comfortable than some of GM's modern products. So, a double thumbs up for the Pontiac Sunfire. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. Alright, so we're in the back of the Pontiac Sunfire, and a couple of things to note. First of all, knee room is good, headroom is good. It's actually kind of surprising how good it is, and as I mentioned earlier, you could get these in coupe, and you could get them in convertible. So out of the 3 body styles that you could get this in, this is obviously the best because it has the full back doors. I don't really get any crazy amenities back here. I get a cup holder and manual windows, but that's about it. The trunk is a similar situation. No crazy amenities back there either, but plenty of space even in an economy car, which is hard to find today. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and it is kind of bland. It does look like they are trying to cover the face of the Cavalier to make you think that it's not a Cavalier, even though this is a Cavalier. However, I do like the fact that it does kind of look like a shrunken down Firebird. So I think the argument could be made that maybe they're not direct siblings, but step cousins for sure. And I like that. I don't know. I've always had a soft spot for these. These definitely fall under macaroni styling for me. I have that warm nostalgia when looking at them. On my 18th birthday, I borrowed my cousin's black 2003 Cavalier because it was stick shift and I wanted to experience that for a day. And although that day ended poorly with the battery going flat and bump starting it in my high school parking lot in the rain, I still have warm, fuzzy feelings over that little machine. However, with all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving a 1997 Pontiac Sunfire? Well, first of all, I always enjoy driving cars like this. I always also enjoy driving more base model cars because it's the truest showing of what the car is actually like without all the bells and whistles trying to steal your attention away. The biggest thing to me is how efficient this car is. It's basic and simple and nothing more, and I think we need more of that in today's market. You could buy a car in the 90s like this, as we said, for not that expensive, and it did everything you needed to do. It goes forward, it goes backward, and it turns. You don't need power windows, you don't need power mirrors, you don't need a fancy-dancy radio, you don't need leather, and on top of it, it gets such great fuel economy. And the further we get from the 90s, the more and more I realize how great we had it at the bottom. You could buy something like this for not too bad. And I still feel like this was before GM would punish their buyers for buying the base level. I still get the comfy seats, I still have AC. Nowadays, they make the seats so hard at the base level that you have to upgrade if you don't want back problems. It wasn't the case here. This car is so honest, it doesn't lie to me about what it's trying to be or what it's trying to do. The only thing that I think is a little bit of hyperbole here in the car is the name Sunfire. Sounds a little bit more dramatic than it is. You say you're pulling up in a Pontiac Sunfire and then show up in a brown and tan blob. It's a little different. But other than that, this car is super honest and I love that about it. Huge thank you to James and Bob for bringing this car out here from New Jersey to Detroit so I could film it. They're out here for an event and they invited me up and I appreciate it. I have filmed a bunch of James's cars in the past. He's absolutely wonderful to work with, as well as his father Bob, so I appreciate them. They're a wonderful family and I always look forward to filming with them. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.